Hi, welcome to
Hey,
another episode of the 10x Freelancer Podcast. Today I'm not alone. I have two other people with me. I mean, last time it was just me and one other person, but today Nilanjan decided to show up. I mean, yeah.
sorry, I missed the
So,
last one. I'm
um,
excited.
yeah. So this new episode, we have a guest. Our guest is Belinda IJ, Belinda Ijeoma. I like calling her IJ because, yeah, it's easier to call. But Belinda Ijeoma is a professional freelancer, pro freelancer.
Mhm.
She's nicknamed the Upwork Queen, right? I think most people know her as the Upwork Queen, and
There's got to
she's
be an
one of the top
interesting
people
story
I know.
behind this. I want to hear that story.
Yeah, definitely. She's going to talk about it. I mean, we
Yeah,
can start from there. Why is she called the Upwork Queen, right? Yeah.
yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting episode. So if you're seeing this for the first time, this is the 10x Freelancer podcast. It's brought to you by Tublian. We have a tool we built, an AI agent for freelancers called Agencer. And then this podcast is like our way of, telling you the story of professional freelancers, the things that they've done, how they've been able to build their career. And today on the show, on this podcast, on this episode, we have Ijeoma Onwuka, and then she's here. She's going to tell us her journey as a freelancer, how she has been able to make it to this point, the things she's has worked with, the challenges she has faced, and then every other thing involved. So I hope you enjoy this one. So yeah. So IJ, you're welcome.
Thank you,
Um,
Precious.
so let me start by introducing myself. My name is Precious Ngube, and I am a community manager. I work here at Tublian, and we are the ones that built Agency. So, Neil, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, cool. I'm Neil. I'm a CEO and founder of Tublian. And I knew Ijeoma for quite some time now. I mean, she's been supporting our journey, our mission here. So I'm super excited that she took time from her busy schedule to join us and talk about her experience. So super excited.
Yep. Now, AJ, over to you, our guest.
Okay, my name is Ijeoma Onwuka. I am also a community manager like Precious, but that's not where I started my career. So I studied accounting in the university. When I graduated, I started working with KPMG as an auditor. 1 year in, I realized that, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. So I started making is this like a very slow transition into the tech space, but then
Mm.
product management was the rave then. So I jumped into product management. I started learning more about product management, how to become a product manager. And it took me a while to land a PM job. So while I was trying to navigate product management, a friend of mine that was into community management was like, IJ, I think you can do community management because I was very active on social media, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, sharing knowledge, sharing my learning journey, everything. So he was like, I think you can be a community manager. And that's how I said, okay, let's give it a try. And 2 months in, I got an internship with an open source organization, Avail, to work as a community manager. I did that for 3 months. So when my internship ended, I'm going to say that's where my freelancing career started. So I became a freelancer by chance. It's not something I woke up and decided to
How
do.
did you get, sorry, how did you get the opportunity? I'm always curious about how people get their first opportunity. How did you get it? You applied there and they responded, or how?
Okay, I think my friend recommended me because he's
Mhm,
also an intern. Yes, he was intern at the time. So he put in the
mhm,
word for me, they
mhm.
interviewed me and I got in. So yeah. So after my internship, so I started looking for a full-time role and think that was taking a little time and someone recommended me. I went for a community event for community managers. I met another community manager, so we became
Mhm.
friends. And when a recruiter or an entrepreneur reached out to him that that she's looking for a community manager, so he referred me. And because the lady wanted a part-time role, So, and she needed to be able to calculate the hours I put in for the contract. So she was like, we can do Upwork. And I'm like, what's Upwork? I have not used the platform before. She said,
Mm.
okay, I should check them out and register and create an account. So that's basically what I did. So she took the role now to Upwork. So I always tell people I did not start like with the normal way other freelancers do start, like searching for their first gig on the platform. So I got my first gig outside of the platform and brought it into the platform. I think that made a lot of difference for me. So what other people would struggle to land their first job on the platform, I didn't have to go through that. And because when I got the gig and I did an excellent job with with the contract, she left me a very beautiful review, very beautiful. Up to today, I still know that people reach out to me on the platform because of that review. So that was how my freelancing journey started. And over the years, I have taken breaks. So I do not do freelancing full time. I take on full time roles along the way, and then
Mm.
I do freelancing by the side, like a side gig. So
Mm.
even when I'm currently out of job, I do freelancing full time till
Yeah.
I land a full time gig. Then I move
Yeah.
it by the side. So it has been, switching. Yeah. So that has been my journey so far.
Exciting.
Yeah,
It's very interesting to see how people get to Upwork like a different way, right? Like, hey, use up. I want to hire you, but Upwork has much better systems. Like, yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. The
yeah, I
tracking
think,
system is a game changer.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Right. So that was like a very interesting one, the breakdown, right? Like you took us on the journey of how you started. So thank you very much for that, right? So the other thing I want to ask is I mean you said that you do freelancing on the side, you still take full-time roles and then you do freelancing. So I wanted to ask about what you think about the long-term sustainability of of freelancing. I mean, I do take gigs sometimes, but I still like at the end of the month I get a certain pay, right? But then you know that when people, whenever we say freelancers, people think of, oh, you go on Upwork or you go on LinkedIn, anywhere you look for gigs, and then you finish that gig, you start looking for the next one, and then the next one may never come. So what do you think about the sustainability of Upwork? Is there a reason why you do it as side gig and still take up full-time roles? I just want to know that.
Okay, there are a lot of reasons. I think I'm going to take them one after the other. So if freelancing was a movie, I'm going to name it a roller coaster
Mm.
because it goes up and it comes down. It's very volatile. Let me put it that way. So some people enjoy their freedom, the autonomy that comes with being a freelancer, but then it has its own downsides. So in the sense that, okay, for me, I want, like Precious mentioned, I want a steady income that comes into my account every month. And that's one thing that with freelancing, your income is not stable. That's the truth. There are some months you make way higher than you've made in months. You could actually make that in a week. Yes. And there are some, we call it dry days or dry months or drought. People have different words for it. So there are some days you go months without getting a job, and there are some months you have a lot of freelancing gig that you don't even know, how to get a lot of things done. So I feel like for me, I want something very stable. There are some things freelancing cannot give you that full-time jobs do. For example, with a full-time job, a good full-time job, you have access to PTO, you have access to pension, you have access to other benefits that freelancing cannot give you. Yes. So while I am have doing freelancing by the side, it's because I want to build a very stable career. So I want to have a very stable career trajectory. You want to see that I have worked here, I have worked here, and I've worked here, and this is how I've built my career over time as a community manager, a program manager, global programs and events. I want to climb um, the career ladder steadily, building my career step by step. But with freelancing, you're just taking gigs, sometimes doing the same thing that you did for the other client, you're repeating it over here. So that growth is not there.
Yeah.
So you can just say you want to make a switch. Let's say you're a community manager and you now want to do events. Yes, you could make that switch, but then it's very repetitive most times. So that's why I always have it by the side. I don't think I can ever be a full-time freelancer. That's not what I want to do in my career. But there are some people that want to be full-time freelancers, so which means that they make sure that they constantly have gigs, because you can wake up in the morning and the client has ended the contract. Yes, without any prior knowledge or prior info, just end the contract. But it's not like that with some full-time yeah, I know there are layoffs and all, but I mean sometimes they're going to notify you, and even if they notify you, some good full-time, they're going to pay you severance pay for laying you off, right? But some of these benefits you can't find them in freelancing. It's just you and your laptop and your skills and your experience, so you just have to keep fighting, looking for gigs, rinse and repeat.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an hustle. But
Yeah.
on the other hand, also, we review data about the trends, what's happening in the industry. There is a tremendous rise on number of freelancers in the market. Now, I think you're right about one thing, that lots of people say quote unquote freelancers, they might not be full-time freelancers. They probably take freelancing gig and they do something else on the side.
Yeah.
But I do see a pattern though down the line, which is probably a bigger problem we should discuss here, that full-time jobs are essentially sort of shrinking down a little bit, right? It's not easy to get full-time jobs. It's getting difficult, and with AI and all the layoffs is happening, I think the competitions are all very high. So lots of people are taking on like, hey, maybe I should do
Yeah.
freelancing. I think the art of, like you said, right? 1 month you probably have 5 requests from clients. You might say no to them, saying, sorry, I don't have time. Is that kind of balancing that out is sort of art, isn't it? It's a skill on its own, right? Figuring out how to
Yeah.
line them up.
Yeah. Yeah, you being
Yeah,
able to know your threshold. And
yeah,
because I always tell people freelancing may not be full time, but you still need to do a good job. You still need to do it like your full time job. So people, you don't just take gigs and just do it anyhow because you think you're freelancing. So yes, you need to do a good job, and good job means you not overloading yourself. So I know my threshold. I don't take, you cannot go to my page on Upwork and see me doing 5, 10 jobs at the same time. No. So I'm very picky. So especially when I'm trying to get land roles, I look for roles that I know that they align well with my skills and they are interesting. I want to work on them, and then they have a good pay. So when I just accept 2 or 3 roles, I'm good. So I dedicate my time and put in a good work. So when I notice that, okay, this client is about, or when this project is about to end, I start looking for more. Or if it ends abruptly, it's fine. So I start looking to add more to it. So currently I am doing only one freelancing gig, and I'm still searching for more. But then I've been applying for full-time roles. Like I'm putting in more effort to land another full-time role, because I left my full-time role sometime in August. So which means for the past few months I've just been doing full-time freelancing.
Mhm.
So yeah. So I'm going to say it's actually art. So yeah, some people are very greedy
Yeah.
and it affects their work. So yeah.
Yeah, I know lots of people do a strategy like they will be busy, but they never say no to client. They will probably take the work and give it to someone else. They will sort of subcontract it to someone
Yeah.
to,
Yeah. We do
right?
that. So I
So our audience going to be lots of newbie freelancers. Like you said, lots of, I think you have a very good strategy of figuring out what's your right project to pick. So do you have any sort of, I feel like over the years you've figured out a pattern, right? Which client is good for you, which is not. How do you go about it? How you said you're picky. What describe that to us?
Okay, well, a lot of things, a lot of decisions go into me bidding or writing proposal for a particular job on Upwork. So first, I look at the data. What does the data have to tell me about this client? Because in as much as I'm trying to land a gig with you, I also need to be watchful or mindful of troublesome clients. So I look at your reviews. What does freelancers have to that have worked with you in the past, what do they have to say about their experience working with you? So if I see that your rating is quite low and freelancers keep saying beware of this client, beware, I'm going to beware. No matter how much you are paying, you said you want to pay, I'm going
Yeah.
to beware. That's how I do it. So I some people, they will still jump into the fire. I don't do that. So I also look at your your hiring rate. It's always there on the platform. So you notice, so when someone has 100% higher rate, so there's a high chance that they're going to hire someone for this role. So because most times people post jobs and they don't hire anybody, and then you, the freelancers that submitted proposals, must have wasted your connects, and connects are not
Mhm.
cheap these days. So you want to be very careful. You want to be mindful of how you spend your connects on the platform. So I always tell newbies, don't be very, don't be in a hurry to apply for roles on the platform. You need to watch out for all these things. You also need to check. Some clients want someone on a particular region, and maybe you are not in that region. I sometimes I do apply for
Mhm.
roles like that, but then you need to make sure, you need to let them know that you know what they are looking for, but then you feel like, or you believe that you will still be able to, even without. So most times, if someone is saying they are looking for someone based in Australia, you need to check time zone as well. So I think they are like 10 hours ahead. So which it's crazy. I have worked with a client in Australia, and it wasn't a good experience. She was
Mhm.
cool,
Crazy,
but the
crazy
time
time.
zone very crazy. She
Very
would say,
crazy.
I want you to deliver this before I wake up. And maybe she said that 12 p.m. my time. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to work on it. Before I go to bed, she's already awake. Like, how? So you need to be mindful of these things as well as a newbie freelancer. Checking
Mhm.
time zones. Does your time zone align with them? Do you think you can keep up? So if someone that is in APAC and Asia Pacific, their time zone is quite different from us over here. So you want to know if you'll be able to stay awake to do their work. But if it's someone based in Europe, we have very similar time zone, very, very. So yeah, you're rest
So
assured
that,
that you
that
can.
that's a good one. That's a good shout out. I mean, you both are from Nigeria. Um, so time zones in Africa are very suitable with European clients. What about American clients? Are they? That's okay, right? 5-6 hours. Not bad.
It's okay. I think it's okay. The
Yeah.
only thing is you can start your day very early,
Yeah.
while they join you later. So you just have to communicate better.
Yeah.
So and when they give you a task to do, you make sure it's done before they wake up so that they can review and you continue. So you don't wait for them to wake up and start asking for it. So you just have to be very proactive while working with clients that are, based in US or in another time zone, so you people can communicate better. So I always tell newbies to look at that as well. There are other pointers you can look at, like the pay, the nature of the job. Do you think it's something
Mm.
you can do? And
Yeah.
you being able to read the job description well. Sometimes some clients hide
Yeah.
words that you need to start your proposal with. So it's just like a screening strategy. So when they say start your proposal with Spark, so I need to be creative. I remember there was one I wrote the other day, and I was like, "Hi, Najma. For the past 4 years, I've learned how to bring Spark to my events." So that was just how I added the Spark, so she knows that I actually read the job description. So some newbie freelancers, not just newbie freelancers, some people are very hasty, just want to quickly apply. So they're among the first people that apply for the job, and you might end up missing some important things that you need to reflect on your proposal. And just like that, you're out of the game. So yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting things. And
That's really good. I mean, I
yeah,
know there's a bunch of questions here. I'll ask one more question on the client management, that'll give it to you, because I think you're talking about client management. This is sort of interesting. So what you're saying is, uh, we most of us been told this numbers game. More jobs you apply. If you apply hundreds, you're gonna get 10 replies. Then maybe 3 will call you for interview. You'll get land one job. But what you're trying to say is necessarily not numbers game, right? You have to be really careful. It's don't be haste or fast about applying, right?
Yeah, I think you can be fast as well, but then
Yeah.
you need to be very detailed as well. So it goes hand in hand, but the other one is more important because what is it going to profit you that you are the first person to apply for a role and you missed the most important word that you needed to add, or the most important detail that you needed to add in your proposal? It defeats the whole purpose.
That's good. So if I'm a client, only one way to fight all these AI bots and tools out there would be is when you apply for this project, please add this code to the proposal.
Yeah.
This code will be all the way at the bottom of this long, lengthy project description. That would
Sometimes
immediately
people
filter
add it
out.
in the middle.
Yeah, that at the right in the middle. It's almost like a puzzle. If you
Mm,
can copy that, put it in your cover letter, I'll give you a call or something. I
yeah.
mean, most of the
Because
AI bots will probably fill there.
yes, because they
And
actually, yes, they do. I have
yeah,
tried it before.
yeah,
Because some freelancers, they just copy the job description and put it on ChatGPT to generate
mm,
a cover
mm,
letter.
mm,
So, and I have done that a dozen times, and I always notice it doesn't add those words. It skips it all the time. So it's you as a human that needs to find a way. And there is something I always tell people: always start your proposals with a hook. It's very
yeah,
important. So a client will be compelled to view your proposal. So it's when a client is interested to learn more about what you have to say, that's when your proposal gets viewed. So I always tell people to always start with a hook. Don't just
yeah,
start with "I'm
yeah.
excited." Of course, they know you're excited.
right.
I see you are looking for a community man. Of course, they know they are looking for a community manager. So start
Mm.
with something else. Don't waste that space. Yeah.
That's a really good point. I mean, I just want to get lots of stuff that you share through community or through some of our meetings has influenced the tool that we build. So I really agree with you. Precious, you have questions for her?
Yeah.
it has been an interesting conversation so far, right?
Really?
And the stuff about time zone. I don't think a lot of newbie people know this stuff about time zone. It's
No.
crazy. So if you're working for people, if you're working with someone in the US, you're most likely going to stay up late at night, right? Because I think our 12 a.m. the next day is like 6 p.m. or 5 p.m. or thereabouts. So you have
And I'll
to,
tell you one thing. Being in US, I hope I'll not offend people here. Americans are not really good at time zones. I mean, most of us think this is it. Well, this is our time zone. Everybody should follow. I mean, you guys are more aware of time zone differences than that. So assuming client knows your time zone is not a good thing. So always be explicit. So I really like that.
yeah,
That hey,
yeah,
I'm 12 hours behind if you're dealing with Australian client.
yeah,
I mean, most of the clients will understand. I mean, most of the client will not expect you to work at 2 a.m. Most of them.
yeah. Yeah, most of them, right? Yeah, but then I mean, if you are the one delivering the job, most times you just have to stay up, do what you have to do to get the job done, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
Yeah. So
depending
I
on
mean,
the nature of the job as well.
yeah.
So
depending on the
let's
nature of the
say
job, yeah,
you are expected to moderate a session in the morning, which is like very early in the morning, like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. It means you have to stay awake to be able to do that.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. I mean, I can remember working with someone in Australia, and sometimes you have to. I mean, I think you were there, right? You have to do
yeah,
like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. We are up. We have to call each other and say, "Hey, it's this time. Come join the call." And yeah, so
I know there are lots of IT companies in India, IT employees in India, they work at night shift,
yeah.
software programmers.
I mean,
This is
India
just
also
wild
is
to
another
think.
crazy time zone. India is also another crazy time zone,
Yeah, I
right?
mean, with US is completely sort of opposite.
Yeah. Right now it should be like 7 or 8 p.m. in India. So
Yeah,
crazy.
it's 8 p.m. It's just 11 hours or 12 hours, depending what the daylight
I
saving.
think I've mostly worked with clients in Australia, US, UK, Europe. Just,
Europe is the best.
just
Anywhere in Europe is the best. Same time zone. You don't need to bother
So
yourself.
what's your work? So you said, I mean, obviously, a review system in Upwork is so important that drives everything there. Um, what if a freelancer gets a really bad review? I mean, is that mean end for that freelancer, or how can you recover from that? Maybe you had a bad experience. Client was
you
upset and gave you a bad review.
you have the chance to also reply a bad
Okay.
review and better explain what happened. I remember I had a very horrible experience with a particular client from the UK. And so I at first I felt like okay, I was at fault, but later on when I went back to that particular project, I wanted to check out the client and I noticed that the next freelancer he hired to replace me also had a more horrible experience than I did. So, and I went to the review. I saw a very lengthy review he left for the freelancer. And I saw that the freelancer responded with a very lengthy. It was horrible. So
More
I
like
was like, okay,
battle of reviews.
exactly. So I was like, okay. So I wasn't at fault here. So because what he did or what he does is he's going to hire you, give you the job, and nitpick on every single thing that you do, make it look like you don't know what you're doing. He's going to make you doubt yourself and doubt your work. And at the end of the day, he's going to say you didn't do a good job and he's asking for a refund.
Oh, wow.
So you will now be stuck with, he'll now say, okay, if you don't refund him, he's going to take it up with the Upwork dispute or Upwork tribunal. And as freelancers, you might be like, do I want to start going through that
Mhm,
process? You don't know
mhm.
how it's going to be. You don't know if Upwork is actually going to defend you. You don't know what the outcome would be. So for me, I think that was early this year, or yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think sometime ending last year. So, and I did a $250 job. So he was asking for 150 of it.
Refund.
Yes, I said I cannot give you 150. So I think we bargained, and I wanted to give him $50 so that, just okay, just go, just take it and go. So because then I wasn't even feeling well. So he said no, that is going to be $100. I said, okay. So what I did was I processed the $100, and Upwork took it from my account on the platform and gave it to him. And that's how we ended. We closed the contract. He hired someone else and did the same thing to her. But I think that the other lady didn't want to take any sort of bullshit from him. So it was more of backlash. So the contract
So
ended.
all this back and forth is happening between the client and freelancer, all happening in public, so everybody can see this.
If you get in contact with the client, you will
Yeah.
definitely, if you check the review, you're going to see it. But Upwork is not an open platform that you can see
Yeah, I was gonna say
clients.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you only get to see a freelancer or a client when you interact with a particular client. It could be you trying to apply for a job that they posted. You now want to check the reviews. You now see what other freelancers have to say about them. And probably that's when you can also see the freelancer that said that by clicking on the freelancer's name to go to their profile to view. So I think those are the ways you can find out about a client. And then I think you can also have relationships with freelancers, but it's not something that is very, very common and rampant on the platform. So Upwork is just that platform that you just
So I know
come
they're very
for
strict
a
about
job. Yeah.
freelancers not following their rules. They're probably gonna kick the freelancers out. Do they kick clients out, bad clients like that? Because it feels like there's
Yes,
a pattern. Okay, good. That's good.
yes, they
That's good.
do. They do. They can suspend you. There are some rules that you want to apply for, and they say this client has been suspended. So
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, all
that's
right,
good.
cool. I think I want us to switch things a little bit. I want us to go into processes, right? So, let's say you land a client right now. So, what is like your process, like your workflow from the points that okay, you've discussed, you talked about how you review your clients. So you applied for the role, the client says yes, I want to work with you. And then so from that point of where I want to work with you, how do you execute the project? So I want you to run us through your process. What is your process like? So yeah.
Okay, I have different processes for different clients depending on what they need, but some things are constant. Like Upwork has a rule, you don't provide your contact details. They don't want you to contact a client outside the platform. So you only drop your contact details when a client has dropped the offer, has sent the offer to you, and you've signed it and agreed that okay, both of us now we have an agreement. So we have a contractual agreement between us now. So that's when you drop your details. So once a client has sent me the offer and I have accepted, the next thing I do is I send my email to them. So the last client I had, it was to manage a virtual event, a 3-day virtual event, or different events. So they hosted a lot of events for developers. So I just dropped my email, and after that, I get added to their workflow, how they do their work. Upwork is just a platform for you to meet a client. It's just like your full-time role, right? So when you get a job, they onboard you. It's the same thing in freelancing. So they have to onboard you and show you the tools that they work with. So in my case, I dropped my email, they added me to their Slack, they added me to their Sana board, and that's how my work starts. So once I've been added, you already know what you're coming to do. So depending on the nature of the job, right? If there is a manager, they could assign you tasks. Like my last one, they assigned me tasks on the Asana board, and I went to work right away. So the only thing is, once you start working, you turn on your tracker. If it's an hourly based contract, you turn on your tracker while doing your work. When you're done, you turn it off. So which means that when you submit your work, whatever you're doing on that particular contract, it's already been recorded on the platform. So the screenshots the app takes every 10 minutes or randomly is already there on your work diary. So a client can always go to the platform to look at your work diary to see what you were doing, what you did, because it's going to take details of the number of times your keyboard moved, the number of times your cursor moved, screenshots. So if you mistakenly moved, it happens sometimes. You could be working and next thing you want to close Netflix and it captures Netflix. I mean, this is 20 minutes of your work time. You don't want to delete it. So most times I just leave it. So it happens, but it shows that okay, the other details there, like the keyboard, the mouse, whatever, they are there. So it shows that okay, I was actually working. This was just a mistake. So that's basically my flow. Sign the contract, share my contact details, get onboarded into the system and start working, turn on my tracker so that whatever I'm doing is getting tracked because that's how I get paid. So for contract roles, for roles that you need to track, you actually need to track. Some clients don't allow that you manually add hours. So if you don't track it, you're your own.
You're on
All
mute,
right. So
Precious.
yeah. So I wanted to also know about, are there standard tools? I mean, I know you do community management for some time. You freelance as a community manager. You also freelance as an event manager, right? Sometimes program management. So are there like tools, like standard tools you use when you are delivering the project? So for example, are there like standard tools that, I mean, your own, I understand that, oh, the client might say, oh, use Asana, use Slack, but on your own, when you want to deliver like for a particular skill, are there like standard tools that you use?
Yeah, I use Google Workspace a lot. The Meet, the Sheets, the Docs, the slides. So it's just my go-to.
So
So
sorry,
if
have your clients made you use Teams before?
I have not been that unfortunate, so it's mostly Meet and Zoom. Yeah, it's mostly Meet and Zoom. I
Yeah.
think I've used WebEx by Cisco, I think
Wow.
once, but
Webex.
it's mostly Zoom and Google Meet. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
when client sends you Webex, you immediately know this is a large company. You should build more. You should immediately double your bill rate if somebody sends you WebEx.
yeah, it's true. Quite
So,
true.
should we talk about some AI tools? Because the promise of AI is obviously AI. Everybody's mind is AI. We here, Precious and I talk about a lot of AI tools.
Yeah.
From my vantage point, without going any specific, we can if you want to. I'm not going to force you, but I feel like AI's promise of hyper agency. The goal is that anyone can use AI now, or possibility of using AI and operate like you have a 10-member team. I mean, do you subscribe to that? Do you believe that promise it has a potential to do that? Can I help you with getting or working with multiple clients at the same time, maybe?
Well, it has to be you being able to set up a very good workflow. I feel like AI can help you with that, but it depends on the nature of your job. So there are some roles that you necessarily cannot replace with AI. So for example, as an event manager, I can use AI to work on my docs because we do a lot of documentation. So work on my docs and all. But when it comes to the actual event hosting, setting up, speaking, moderating, you have to do that by yourself. So I'm going to say it's not something that is set in stone. So it differs heavily on
Really?
the nature of your work. Yes. So
No, I
probably as a
understand.
virtual assistant, you could be able to do that, automate a lot of your workflows, have it send out emails for you, have it track emails for you, do budgeting, a lot of other things. But there are some rules that it just needs to assist you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Okay, I mean, I feel like you don't want to mention some of these tools, maybe by their names, but then it's fine. So let's talk
Yeah, no,
about.
it depends. I use a lot of tools, of AI tools, depending on what
Mhm.
the role needs. Yeah.
Right, right.
Okay, yeah. So and then I want to touch a little bit on collaboration before we talk about um, your sustainability processes. So do you by chance work with other people as a freelancer? Do you have people that you work with? Are there times you're like, okay, this role is too much, and then you have to call, oh, you do this, and then, I mean, I think I know, but I'll let you say.
Yes, yes, I did that sometime this year. So depending on what the role needs, right?
I
So
know you
I
had
think
some sort
I
of
had,
at some point.
yeah, yeah, I had a PA and I also had a designer on the team. I do designs, but my designs are not so great.
Yeah,
But then I do design. So I had two clients. One was a church in New York, so which means we had to do a lot of videos, video editing, posting a lot of flyers, church services, and all activities. So I needed a designer on the team. So I had a contract with one. So the work, it's as if I'm the one doing the work. So, but I just pay them monthly. So we had an agreement. She charges me how much she wants to charge me per design. So at the end of the month, we calculate all the designs she did for that month, and she gets paid. And then my PA was doing most of the social media management, so like content creation, creating content using ChatGPT and editing it. So what I do most times is I just review them because at the time I had up to 4 to 5 clients. So I knew that I needed
Right.
help. Yeah, so most times I collaborate with other freelancers as well to get things done, but I always enjoy doing some things by myself. And there are some clients that won't want you to contract their work out. So you want to make sure that even if you want to do that, or everything needs to pass through you so it maintains the standard that you usually do your work. So the client does not need to know that it wasn't you that actually did this. So yeah. So when before you submit a task to your client, make sure that you have reviewed it thoroughly and it meets the standard of your work, the kind of work that you do before you make those submissions. But most times I do my work by myself. Yeah, there are some roles that I know that no, you cannot help me
No,
with this particular role. Yeah.
I think that's fine. I mean, that's sort of part of growing up, right? I mean,
Yeah,
scaling. I mean,
yeah.
yeah. Some
you
people
should
even go
be
as far as setting up an agency. Yeah, I considered doing that on the platform,
yeah,
but I think I changed my mind.
yeah.
Maybe you
Hyper
should tell
agency,
us how
that's the
you
future.
change.
Now, you mentioned something that I think is very powerful as we get to the tail end of this is you mentioned social media marketing. I think lots of freelancers don't get it. I know you do. They think, oh, all I have to do is a day in, day out apply at Upwork and hope for some clients to accept. But they don't, some of them doesn't understand the importance of having a social media presence. Can you talk about that, like how your campaigns through LinkedIn sort of helped you be a better freelancer?
Okay. Visibility does a lot for you. Yeah. So I know the gigs I've gotten because of my LinkedIn profile. I always tell people early this year I got a job. What I did basically was to write LinkedIn comments, and I made almost a million from it, a million naira. Okay, in USD, about 500 or 600 or thereabout. So what I was doing basically was to write LinkedIn comments. And why I got that role, because the founder actually looked at my profile and was very satisfied with it. And then another thing is there are some rules.
Wait. You said writing LinkedIn comments. Can you be more specific? What do you mean? You just randomly find post and comment on them, or what? What do you mean?
Yes, yes. So randomly,
Like comment like what? Oh, this is good. Like what kind of comment?
no. So the founder wanted to build thought leadership on the platform. So he's a founder that has an event company. So our focus was mostly on event professionals. So he just wants to build thought leadership in the event space. So basically, what I did was find posts of event professionals and drop meaningful comments under it, so that he can build connections, people get to
This
connect
is
with
so
him,
smart. So smart.
view his
Hmm.
profile, and peradventure from there learn about their platform or their tool. So I guess he doesn't have the time, so that's why he hired me to do the work. So I think I got that role because of how active I was on LinkedIn, or I am on LinkedIn. Another thing social media can help you with, it's there are some roles you want to apply on the platform, and you see the client drops enough information for you to be able to find them. I remember the first role I got, as I picked up, okay, how do I put it? I picked interest in cybersecurity sometime last year. So I started looking for more cybersecurity focused roles that I could, try my hands on and then get more experience about security. So I saw the role on Upwork. He said he, he wrote the name of the project. It's a nonprofit in detail. Cyber Ohana Project is a nonprofit in the US that helps military veterans transition to cybersecurity. So they're
Okay.
looking for a community outreach manager.
Mm.
So I applied, and when I finished applying, I know Upwork says don't reach out to the client outside of the platform, but we freelancers, we do, especially when the client gives you enough information to be able to find them. Sometimes you can even do that when you don't have Connect. Is another strategy I tell people when you don't have Connect anymore to apply for roles. So sometimes when you find clients that posted a job and you think you can find them and actually reach out to them and sell yourself and tell them, I saw that you posted this role on the platform, but I don't have Connect to apply, but this is what I can do. Back it up with your portfolio or
This
more
will excite
evidence.
me. I've been client at Upwork. If some freelancer does that to me, I'll be interested. I'll be intrigued because
Yes, so
that works. I mean,
it
by the
works.
way, officially we don't recommend this approach. I'm gonna make
Yeah,
sure you
yeah, yeah.
follow Upwork
Upwork doesn't
policies, but
recommend it,
this is
but
Yeah,
this is a
Upwork
smart
doesn't
it's
want
way.
you
it's
to
the
do that.
hustle. It's the hustle. You have to
All right,
you have to
this
do
is
what
why
you
we
have
are
to
here. We
do.
want to get this juicy details, this hacks. Nobody does this. This is good,
Yeah,
really good.
the last role I got for the event manager role, I actually did that. I reached out to the CEO on LinkedIn, and he said, "Okay, someone on my team is going to reach out to you." And the next day, they reached out to me on Upwork to say, "Hey, we got your proposal and we got your message from our CEO. We'd love to have an interview with you." And here I am. I got the job and I delivered. I got paid. I got my money, and I went home. So it works.
This is so cool. I mean, I think we over-index and we get afraid. Should I reach out to CEO? What
Yeah,
worst could happen? They will ignore your email or say no, right?
yeah, exactly.
But the
What's
upside
the
of this is
worst?
huge.
Yeah.
Upside because
So,
just
but
picking up the phone
do
is,
is
yeah,
what I do is I since I know Upwork says it's against the rule, but even if I reach out to you outside the platform, I still bring you back to
yeah,
the platforms. It's just for me to, let you know that I actually saw the job you posted and I know that it's you that posted it. So this is me reaching
Yeah.
out to you to say, okay, I saw the role you
yeah,
posted. So when you are finally reviewing freelancers, you could
yeah,
I have already registered my name. So you can say,
yeah,
okay, it's that lady that reached out to me on
yeah,
LinkedIn. Let me, so yeah.
yeah. So this
All
remind me
right.
as a side note. I mean, I think it's so important. It's I think from this Steve Jobs biopic, like when Steve Jobs was looking for some hardware, something I don't know exactly what he was looking for, but back in days we used to have this phone directories, right? All the phone numbers used to be there in a large book. So Steve Jobs picked up the phone number of Hewlett Packard, the founders of HP, and directly called the CEO. When back in that time, Steve Jobs was nobody. He was trying to build something, but that the fact that somebody picked up a phone, a kid picked up a phone and called the CEO of a company, Hewlett actually invited Steve Jobs, say, "What do you want? I can help you."
Hmm.
So just
Hmm.
crazy what could happen if you just take that bold
Audacity.
step of reaching out.
Yeah, be
Yeah.
audacious. Yeah.
Love the
Be
story.
audacious. Yeah. Be audacious. All right. So let's
Yeah,
talk a little bit about tools. I mean, I know there are a lot of AI tools have come into the freelance space. I mean, we have one. We've built one. But sorry, before we get to tools, can we talk a little bit about how do you find roles, right? So, do you use only Upwork? Because the last time I had a chat with Miracle, who was our last guest, and then she talked about how she found her first client on Facebook, right? And then she makes more money on LinkedIn than on Upwork. She says Upwork pays peanuts, but on LinkedIn they pay her in thousands. Upwork they pay her $100, $200, $30, $80. But on LinkedIn they pay her thousand, 1,000 to 1,005, 3,000. So, what is your process of finding clients like?
Okay, well, I'm not very active on Facebook, so I don't use Facebook. So
Yeah,
mostly I do LinkedIn and Upwork. But the number of clients I've gotten are mostly from Upwork. So
Upwork.
most times clients do reach out to me, and when they interview me, they hire me. So I just start doing the work. So, but for me, looking for roles, I use mostly Upwork and LinkedIn. Yeah, but I think I've just gotten one freelance gig from LinkedIn. The rest have been on the platform. Yes.
Which one paid you more, Upwork or LinkedIn?
Upwork, I have made good money from the platform. Yeah, I know they take their 10%, but then it's business. So they give you the
Yeah,
platform, they take their cut. So I'm
yeah,
good.
you don't mind. All
Yeah.
right, so let's now talk about tools. So, are there tools that you use in your processes of looking for job? I mean, agency is. I mean, we have our own tool, obviously, for
Yeah,
looking for
yeah, I've
job.
been
They're like
using I've
other.
been using it.
Yeah.
So so mostly before I started using Agency, I can you still hear me?
Yes, very well.
Okay. So what I did mostly was I literally sleep on the platform. So I'm always checking, refreshing to find the latest gig and all. But since I started using Agency, so it notifies me most times when a client posts a role, and I just hop in, check it out, and see if I'm interested. I say, okay, let's apply. If I'm not interested, I close it and continue with my day. So that's actually what I have been using so far. So I mentioned I'm very picky, so I'm not always in a hurry or in a rush to land gigs. So I just take my time when I find roles. I could go 1 week without even applying for a role. So, but
Wow.
when I finally find one that I'm interested in, I give it my all. So that's basically how I go about it. So I manually search and then I use agency as well sometimes. Yeah.
To keep an eye. Okay, okay, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it has been like an interesting conversation. We've moved from your
Yeah.
journey. You had like a very interesting journey. We moved to talk about, your processes. We've talked about even the clients that you work with, talk about client management, tools. And then so lastly, I would like to ask like, what do you think the future of freelancing is, especially for someone that lives in Africa and Nigeria? And then from everything that you've you've experienced in this space as a freelancer, what do you think the future is
I
for
I think
freelancing?
the future of freelancing is more freelancers jumping onto the trying out freelancing, and probably might have more freelancing tools. I think Upwork is like the biggest guy. To me, I don't know about others, but I think Upwork is like the biggest in the freelancing space with what they've done over the years. So the future, I see more freelancers because, especially for Africa, I'm currently mentoring Africans with in collaboration with the University of Michigan. So what we are trying to do is get more Africans to land freelancing gigs, to start freelancing, because with the way the job market is going, every day we see more layoffs. It's becoming more difficult to land full-time jobs. A lot of jobs are going on site, so which means that if you're looking for a remote role, it's either within Africa or an on-site within your location, or freelancing, because if you're not based in the US, how do you want to work in the US when they're looking for someone based in the US? Even when I see remote roles, they say remote US.
Yeah.
So for someone like me based here, you see me most times checking out freelancing gigs on Upwork than even applying for full-time roles, because I see roles but I am not eligible to apply for them. But with
Yeah.
freelancing, you are very eligible to try out things, because at the end of the day, you just want to make money, right? You want to survive. So when you cannot find those roles you're looking for, you have to fall back on freelancing, because it gives you the opportunity to bid, to compete for global roles. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think more people are going to get into the freelancing space, even more full-time professionals that probably got laid off or are trying to build more cushion, like support, have side gigs in case they get fired from their full-time roles. So I think that's the future. The future is more people in the space. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Right. 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 Right.
Um,
Right.
so before we go, the last thing, give a shout out to like where can people find you? You said community management. What kind of projects excite you? So if any potential client or founder is listening to this, how they can reach you and hire you?
Okay, they can reach me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn every day, 24 hours. So yes, you can always send me a message and I'm going to reply. Ijeoma Onwuka on LinkedIn. That's the first name. Once you type Ijeoma Onwuka, the first Ijeoma Onwuka, that's me. Yes. So, and the roles I'm interested in are program management, community management roles, event management, mostly tech events, open source, yes, developer communities as well. Cybersecurity, yeah, because I'm a fangirl.
Mhm. That's awesome.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very
Thank you so
much.
much.
Thank you so much, Joma. Yeah. So it has been a very interesting 1 hour. We said 40 minutes for this, but then it has been an
Yeah.
interesting 1 hour. So yeah, thank you very much for coming. Thank you, Nilanjan, for being here. Hopefully we will get to see more and have more chats in the future. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
Thank
totally.
you,
guys,
Precious.
yeah,
Thank you
thank
for
you
the
so much.
invitation. Thank you,
You're
Yeah, thanks
welcome.
Nilan.
for being with us. Yeah, thanks. Take care.
Yeah. Thank you.
You
All
Bye.
too.
right. Yeah,
Bye.
bye.